Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I know we skipped a week and I said I wasn't going to do that, but she ain't perfect. I had a book that was due and I just didn't read, and I did try and do like my to be read pile when I tried to film a video, but it just felt a bit forced, and it's just, that's not what I'm here for. Anyway, welcome back, and if you're new, hi, welcome. I'm Anne. I'm pretty sure you're not new because this is a video purely focusing on my books. So if you found yourself here and you haven't read me, that's awesome. I'm a romance author, generally. I just did release a thriller recently, but mostly romance. Mostly. We are here today to talk about the Greenstone Security series, which is these babies right here. I'm doing this because we have the 5th book in the series coming out on the 14th, which isn't that far away. Oh, so I wanted to talk about this series. I already have done a spotlight on my Sons of Templar series, so if you're a reader and you haven't watched it, I'll pop that like up there somewhere. I had a lot of questions on that one. I do have a lot of questions on this one too, which I'm excited about. But yeah, if you aren't familiar with Greenstone Security and you maybe have read my other books, it is inside the Sons of Templar universe, and I get so many questions about Rosie, and her book is book 2 called Shield. Now, each of these books can be read as a standalone, but your best reading experience would be to go Still Waters, Shield, The Problem with Peace, and then Chaos Remains. So there is also another reading order that I will link below that people who want to get the most out of the Sons of Templar universe have created. So it goes between like the Sons of Templar, Unquiet Mind series and this series, because they are all in the same universe, but they're not like connected per se. Alright, so I posted in my reader group, which is Cocktails with Anne on Facebook, if you want to join. But I did ask everyone in my reader group what questions that they had about the Greenstone Security series. Quick overview, it is a series centered around the Greenstone Security Company, which is all of these badasses, and they do like bodyguarding and all sorts of other stuff. Pretty much it is, they meet a lot of women who get them into trouble, okay? So, anyway. The first lot of questions is from my fiance because he's really cute and he's like wanted to get the ball rolling for me. So where did the idea to write a security company come from? I will say it's not an original idea. So many romance authors have really, really good security series, like Harper Sloan Corp Security. Jessica Gadziella has her Fictional series. She's not really a security firm, it's what it is. I'm just going to say this. So that's a great series. And then Kristen Ashley obviously has the Rock Chick series, which centers around Nightingale Security. So I'm not going to say I came up with this idea. It is something, as a huge romance reader, I love to read about, and I'm like, why wouldn't I do my own kind of spin on it? So yeah, it's not original. What has been the most challenging aspect of writing this particular series? So this series is different. If a lot of you have read it, then you're going to know it isn't the traditional romance series that maybe my Sons of Templar is. Obviously Sons of Templar isn't traditional because it's like a motorcycle club, but the stories are a little bit more traditional for a romance reader to experience. This series I've designed to be a lot more difficult. There isn't a lot more maybe like real life. So it's not an easy road, and it's a frustrating series, and it's like a very human look and how people fall in love. It's not, I don't know how to say it. I will just say it's a lot more real, and I definitely have injected a lot of my own demons because, as you know, my fiance and I have gone through a tumultuous time to get to where we are, and obviously I was writing these books in the middle of it, so I wanted a really more real series. Of course there's going to be like instant love and action and all of that, but it's definitely something that has a lot more frustration and pain in it than a lot of my other series. So it is hard to tap into that, and it is hard to release that onto the world because I know I was worried about how people would how romance readers in particular would receive it, because it isn't exactly your traditional romance series. And I have such a hardcore group of Greenstone Security readers. It's so funny because I do have, like, obviously my most popular series is my Sons of Templar series, but it is funny when I do stuff like ask for a poll in my reader group, like what books people want to see. So many people say Greenstone. So there are a lot of readers that really have responded to this different kind of series, and I love that so much. Who is an actor and actress you could see playing two of your favourite Greenstone characters in a movie? I feel like I love and hate this question. I don't know. Who do you guys see? I don't know. Oh my god. There's a little dog. What do you mean? She's like falling asleep. I'm gonna see if I can... Oh, it's too zoomed in, but I'll insert this little photo of her. As I was saying, I do always find this really hard because some series and books I have like a celebrity in mind that I'm like, yes, they would do so well playing that character, but a lot of my characters I'm like, I don't know, because also one of the hardest things that books being turned into movies have is like everyone imagines a character different in their own head, right? Like you always imagine your character to be different. No matter how they're described, they're going to have little parts that you've kind of created for yourself. So I don't really know. I can't even think of any of them. Who would... Maybe Polly would be like... No, I can't do it. No, I'm not a very good author. I should have thought this through. I should have researched, but that's not how I live my life. What was the... My fiance is so cute. What was the inspiration for the name Greenstone? Is it difficult for you to come up with titles or fictional business, city names, character names, or do they come fairly easily? So for those of you who don't know, I'm from New Zealand. So Greenstone was kind of an homage to my home country. Greenstone is a sacred stone to the Māori people, the indigenous people of New Zealand, otherwise known as Pounamu. And I definitely wanted to have something kind of a nod to the Kiwiana in there. My main character, Kelton, is a Māori from New Zealand, and he's currently moved to LA to open this Greenstone Security company, and he like wants a little bit of home with him. So that's the inspiration for the Greenstone, if you don't know about that. Is it difficult for you to come up with titles of fictional business, city names, character names? So they come fairly easily. Sometimes they do, and other times it is a monster mission. I'm terrible with coming up with names, and I do repeat names by accident. Luckily my betas catch that for me. So sometimes like Tara Washington in my Retired Sinners series, I'm like, perfect name, wasn't that hard to come up with. Like Amber, California. Other places it is hard. I try and mix like my own made up cities and stuff like that with real ones, so it is really hard. I will say the hardest thing to come up with is characters' names. The heroes' names come pretty easily to me, but the heroines' names are definitely hard. I don't know why. I will say, my fiance and I want to have a baby eventually one day. Boy's name, already picked out. It's the most badass boy's name I could ever imagine. We're still struggling with our girl's name, so, you know. Alright. Do you have a picture in your mind of what the characters look like before you start writing a book, or does that develop as you're creating them? So I use Pinterest like a boss. I love Pinterest so much. It's like got all of my inspiration on it. So I do pin a lot of things as inspiration before I even start a book. I like kind of what I can imagine my characters looking like, but also they do change throughout the book. I don't have a really strong vision of what they physically look like when I start the book. I get more of a mood as I continue, if that makes sense. Do you research before you write? As you write, or are you good at Googling and squirring away interesting topics in a story later? I do this a mix of both. So if I'm writing a story, like there's a scene in Resonance of Stars where something happens and I really wanted to be accurate. It's kind of medical, and so that wasn't a planned part of the story because I'm a pantser. If you don't know, I fly by the seat of my pants. So I don't really plan out a lot of scenes. They really do come to me as I'm writing, so I can't research stuff like that until it's come to me. But there are other things that I'm already knowing about that I want to be in the book that I researched beforehand, so I am like a mix of the two. Which other authors inspired you to write? I have so many. Kristen Ashley, Stephen King, Nora Roberts, Paulina Simmons, just like the list goes on and on. I have so many. I was brought up to love reading and to love authors and books and stories, so I find myself very blessed. Some of your more serious storylines have come from this series, including with The Problem with Peace. How do you find your way back to the light after you're done writing such dark spaces with those sections? Great question. It is funny, I sometimes find it almost easier to write dark than I do to write light. I will say Resonance of Stars is a lot lighter than other books in the series, maybe the lightest of them all. It obviously has a really lot of intense and sad scenes, but it feels lighter on my soul to write it, which was so good for me because I just came off the back of writing Hush, which is super, super dark and so intense. And then I actually found it pleasant and lovely to write something light, but usually writing dark things comes to me super easily because I suffer from anxiety and depression and demons like that, so it is like cleansing to me to kind of like put that all on a page. And it is almost, I don't get too caught up in it. I will say with like Birds of Paradise, I definitely did, but I find myself really immersing myself in it, and it really is like therapy to me, especially this series. I will say this series in particular has been such a personal series, and you do see like really naked parts of my soul. You guys, I'm so hot. I'm pausing like every 5 minutes to do a fan session. Where do your characters' outfits come from, and who do you think is best in bed? Who do you guys think is best in bed? Again, outfits come from Pinterest. If you ever are wondering like what my visions are and things like that, my Pinterest boards, most of them are public apart from a few of my secret projects, but if you are on Pinterest and wanted to see like the fashions, that's where I get all of my inspiration from. Who do I think is best at bed? Duke's pretty good in bed, guys. Apart from that, I think Kelton. You guys know. Who do you think? Tell me in the comments below. Have your travels inspired you for certain stories and couples? Maybe you've seen couples along journeys and came up with a storyline. My travels, for sure, like Polly, for example, she went through everything that she went through with Heath, and she decided to go run away to Europe. And so a lot of my travels are inspired by places that I've been, because when I was going to those places, I had all these visions of my mind. I'm a daydreamer, I'm romantic. So I was like, I'm going to fall in love, I'm going to meet all these guys and like have like this romantic experience, and there was no one who was like me on any of my travels, just so you know. So it is really cool to have like different travels in it, and yeah, definitely influenced by that. That wasn't a very good answer to that question. I'm sorry guys, I'm really hot. Each of your characters have a bit of humor, sarcasm and darkness. How do you envision each one and what troubles they will bring to the story to grab the reader's attention? I wish I could say a more eloquent way of how they come, but they just arrive. My characters really do, and they grow and evolve as I'm writing. I will say I do inject a lot of my own personal darkness and my own personal humor and all of that into my books, so I definitely think that that is what is unique about my books, is because although I try and make really, really different heroines each time, it's like each heroine is a part of me, like who I want to be, who I am now, who I wish I wasn't. All of these different parts of me are always woven through each character, which I think is like so important. If you're going to write anything, you should, even if your character's like a serial killer or something, find ways to humanize them. I think that's the best way you can write anyone, is draw from your own experiences. Each of, I absolutely love your dark side, which I was surprised, but my heart feels their pain and sees beyond the dark to step back and view as a whole and where they came from and maybe how they got there. Oh, thank you, Christy. What was the hardest character name to come up with and why? I do have trouble with my character name. At the start, I obviously hadn't written as many books as I have now, so I had a wealth of names to choose from. As it is now, I have used a lot of names on different characters, but I will say Magnolia from Splinters of You was, I know I'm meant to be keeping this for Greenstone, but I'm just going to be honest, that was my hardest name to come up with, because she's such a complex character, and I really feel like names are really important to me. When I name my character, I definitely want it to speak as like more than a name, if that makes sense. Are the personalities of characters based on a lot of people you meet or just bits and pieces? I definitely will say that each character is bits and pieces of people I know, people I am, many people inside. But yeah, it's definitely, I've said this before, but my characters are definitely not modeled after one person. Each character is like fragments of all these different people that I've met, or that I know, or that my friends are. How often do you have to try and rein your characters in, or you just let them go for it? I just let them go for it. I really do. I really do, because sometimes it's so hard to write. I'm like, when they want to go for it, I'm like, yes, yes. Is this the end of the series? If not, will you be revisiting Kelton and Lucy or Rosie and Luke as a main storyline? This is not the end of the series by far. I have plenty more Greenstone Security series books planned, but I will say that couples will always feature in, but people that I've already given a happy ever after aren't going to get a new book. That's just not really the way that I write. I wish I could, but I've given them the happy ever after and they've gone through all that. You'll definitely see like what's going on in their life, but like if they've gotten the happy ever after, I want to give more characters the chance and have a whole book dedicated to new characters, if that makes sense. Okay, I've got the fan blowing at my boobs right now. I hope you can't hear it, but if you can, just please be nice to me. I get this question like all the time, because obviously the Greenstone Security universe, the Sons of Templar universe is like so complicated, and I get this question literally all the time. Do you keep character cards to keep all the details about each straight? No, I don't. I should. I know that I should. I know that really good authors do. I don't. Is there a chart showing the various characters and their connections and interconnections with characters from other series? No, I would love that. I would love to give you guys that. If there's someone that's good at charts and love this series, please reach out to me, but I can't do it. I'm so shocking at that. Do your characters talk to you like voices in your brain, or is it more that you get an idea and the words flow? I definitely think it's a mixture of both, but it's more on the side of I get an idea and the words flow, and then I get like snatches of conversation in my head, if that makes sense. How do you get any work done with all the cuteness and cuddling that needs to happen in your home? It's hard, you guys. We have 2 beautiful dogs, and obviously I have a fiance that I cuddle all the time. It definitely is hard, but Scotty's favourite thing is to just like sit on my lap if I'm writing, so it's quite nice to have that emotional support dog. I'm so dewy. Wow. What differences are there between the Greenstone Security men and the Sons of Templar men? When you create a hero storyline, how do you know which series they fit into? Love this question. I would definitely say that the Greenstone men are like way more like emotionally communicative, if that makes sense. Like they're all alphas, always going to be alphas, but I definitely think that this series in particular has a lot more talking and a lot more push and pull, so they do need to be a lot more communicative. You could fight me on that, but I definitely think that they're like not the most traditional like grunty alpha male, so I do think that they fit very differently. If you've read both series, let me know below if you do agree with that or not. I would love to hear that actually. And when you create a hero storyline, how do you know which series they fit into? I honestly really don't know how to answer that question, because I have a rough plan of what my next book in this series is going to be and who is going to get a story, because most of the times I do introduce characters from in the series. Like there are secondary characters that, for example, Duke in Renaissance of Stars, he's been here since Still Waters, so we've known Duke from the get-go. I do try to do that to give myself and to give you guys someone to be interested in, and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't wait for these stories. So a lot of the times it isn't really that hard. I'm just like, yep, they go here, they go here. That is the one place where I'm organized. When you research, do you actually speak to people that are in the industry or just do research online? Have you ever been surprised? Oh no, wait, this is like a few questions, so I'll answer that one first. My anxiety, like I barely can call the doctor to like make an appointment. So yeah, if I were to write something that really did need a lot of like expert opinion, I would definitely do that, because I want my stories to always be as accurate as possible, but I mostly just do everything online. Have you ever been surprised at how a book turns out, kind of like you didn't see that coming? Yes, I have. I definitely have, but then other times I actually write the end before the beginning. So a lot of the times I'm more surprised with what happens in the middle than I am with what happens in the end. Who was your favourite male character out of the Greenstone series so far, and have you ever thought about writing a second generation series from the characters' children later on down the road? It's really hard to play favourites, you guys, but who was my favourite? I think it's Heath. I think it is Heath. I really do. Who's your favourite? Heath, or I do really like Duke. He's one of my favourites I've written so far. You guys are going to love that. Which series do you find more difficult to write, Sons of Templar or Greenstone Security? I definitely think Greenstone Security. Sons of Templar is like, I don't know how to explain it, but As I said in the beginning, the Greenstone Security series is like so different, and it always is really emotional, and there's a lot of like emotional drama as opposed to actual drama. So I definitely think that it's way harder to write, and as a few of you have already noted, there are a lot of really dark themes. The Sons of Templar are definitely really dark, you know, Battles of the Broken, Dauntless, Out of the Ashes, they're all very dark, but I don't know, I think the Greenstone series just seems a lot more emotionally like traumatizing almost. Do you have a problem keeping storylines that overlap straight as you write each story? Yes, I do. I do try and like read through the book that I am doing alongside or having overlapping so I can figure out which key points happen when, but I definitely do miss stuff, and I'm just very lucky that my betas catch almost all of it, if not all of it. And I definitely have thought about doing a second generation book. I want to feel like I've maybe done a little bit more in each series before I go into that, because I feel like both the Sons of Templar and the Greenstone series have a lot more to go before I can feel like I'm ready for that, but it's definitely something I'm going to do. Would you consider a Greenstone Templar party book? A knees up in the clubhouse with Unquiet Mind playing would be awesome. That would be super awesome. I would be so down for doing something like that. As I said, I want to feel like I have a few more characters story told, and then it's going to be like this big epic party, but I definitely want to have a lot more fun with these interconnected universe, and maybe just do something just exclusive for you guys, maybe even like a free book, or I don't know, something cool that is just for fun and we get to revisit all of our old favorites. I will say Renaissance of Stars really does do that. Features the Sons of Templar heavily, so we do get to see a lot of characters from past books, especially at the end of the last chunk of Renaissance of Stars is really kind of like an homage to where I came from, because I will say that Renaissance of Stars is like such a mix between the newer styles and the newer tones I've had to my book, and it really does keep the vintage me like alive, like really old school romance vibe. So I'm so excited about that. It actually is the end of all of my questions. I'm so sorry if that video was like really intense. Like I seemed really panicky. I just got really hot, and when I get hot I get so panicky, so I'm so sorry if it was like that. But as I'm saying, this series is like I know I'm not meant to say this, but it really is one of my favorite series I've ever written, because it just feels different to me. It feels more emotional. I don't even know how to explain it. It's just a really complex series, and I'm really proud of myself for writing these books. So if you haven't read them, I don't know when I'm putting this up, but I'm pretty sure that at least Shield and Problem with Peace might be on sale. Still Waters was free, but I think that's ended by the time I'm putting this up. I did want to do this yesterday, but had some slight anxiety issues. It's just about being a creative little cherub that I definitely go through peaks and valleys, but I am so proud of this series, and I'm so proud of Renaissance of Stars, and I think you guys are really going to like it. So maybe I'll even do an ARC giveaway with this little video. I don't know, if you comment down below, you can go in the draw for an ARC, because the ARCs are advanced reader copies if you don't know. We released on the 14th of September. You can pre-order, but I always, I did this a lot more when I was first starting out and I didn't know that much about bloggings and stuff. I did do heaps of ARC giveaways, and I should do that more just for you readers and my loyal readers who have literally been here since making the cut. So I will give away ARCs down below. All you need to do, you don't even need to comment like anything special. You can just put like a love heart, or you can put your favorite character, your favorite book in the series, just anything, just show me some love, and I will go through and pick some people to win an ARC. So thank you so much for bearing with me through this, and I'm so excited about this book. I actually haven't been excited about a book like this in a while. I'm always excited about my releases, but I'm always, there's like nerves and stuff, but I definitely think you guys are really going to love this. So I can't wait to share it with you. 14th of September, pre-order now if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video.